John Fredericks Radio Network, the John Fredericks Radio app. I am your Godzilla of the Truth in America. Thanks for being here. Your Oracle of the Deplorables, coming to you live from your nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Swampland, USA. Finally got back from our, what was it, a 3-week excursion? I don't know how long I've been gone. Got back last night from a week in Iowa, a week in New Hampshire. We did 16 cities over 2 states, talked to probably 25 or 50 voters on air live, went to 16 different town halls by every candidate, including Tulsi Gabbard. So we saw what? Tulsi, Yang, Elizabeth Warren, that was dead, Biden, Sleepy Joe's town hall, couldn't stay awake, snooze fest, Mayor Pete, his corporatized events, very corporate. And then, of course, the Bernie Bros town halls, which are just chaotic scenes of people having fun. So we saw them all, and I still think Bernie is going to be the nominee after doing that for 2 weeks. But we're finally back. Great to have you with us. Rick Manning coming up from Americans for Limited Government right here in the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. So you want to be able to stay with us. And, by the way, this segment is brought to you by our good friends at Cornerstone First Financial and Mark Livingstone. But I tell you what, Mark's got it going on, man. He's been for Trump from the beginning, but right now, now's the time to get that refi done, to get that loan done. You're thinking about buying a house. Now's the time because over 9 million homeowners are going to save big time on a mortgage refi. Rates are 3.49%, lowest level since October 2016. And you want to get the best rate with the best service. You want to go to Mark Livingstone, Cornerstone First Financial. Do it today, man, because it's hot. Right now, 3.49%. You're not going to get this anywhere. Also, the virus playing into this just a little bit, right? You don't want to forget that. Unbelievable. Market rates dropping. Do it now. One person to call. Cornerstone First Financial and Mark Livingstone. These guys get it done. And if you're a veteran, you hit the jackpot. These guys know everything to do with veterans. They're going to save you the most money. He just saved one of my listeners $900 a month. That's not 9. That's not 90. That's $900 a month. That's like another house payment. Give him a call today, 202-625-1221, 202-625-1221, Cornerstone First Financial. And you, my friends, are good to go. Right there. Tell them John sent you. That's important to do as well. Joining us now is Rick Manning. Rick is the president, CEO, and chief cook and bottle washer of Americans for Limited Government. He's also the co-author of the book Necessary Noise, How Trump Inflames the Culture War and Why This is Good for America. And he's with us now. Rick, great to have you, man.
Hey, good talking to you, John.
So I'm transitioning from impeachment, clown car fiasco that we've had to deal with here for months and months. And now I'm saying to myself, okay, we're going into the election, but can we finally talk about actually getting something done in Congress? Because I didn't think their job was just to impeach presidents and jump up and down and tear speeches up on the dais. I thought their job was to actually get stuff done. Silly me, right? And one of the biggest issues I'm covering here, like a dog with a bone until it's done, is surprise medical billing. Because I got one of those, like people say, oh, can you imagine getting a bill in the mail? You don't know what it is, and it's $5,000. Yeah, that happened to me. It just came in the mail. I'm like, my wife was like, what is this? I look at it, I'm like, I don't even know who this is from. I owe $5,000 from who? Next thing you know, I've got a date to go to the magistrate, and they're trying to get a judgment against me. Well, I had no defense against the judgment. Then I get a judgment. Now they have a judgment. Guess what they can do now? They can garnish your pay. They can come in and take your furniture if you don't pay it because they have a judgment, and you can't fight it. Like, I go up there, I'm like, I don't even know what this is. They're like, nope, blah, 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 blah. You got this done. It's $5,000. You have to pay it or else. How do we stop this?
Well, you've described the situation pretty directly, and it's what's happening is, first of all, you have to understand what's happening. You pay for health insurance. You assume that your health insurance is going to cover your when you go to the doctor, when you go to the hospital, whatever your health needs are, that it's going to cover at the rates that you would expect. If you got an 80-20, you're paying 20%, you accept that. The challenge is that when you go to the hospital, they might, they're going to bring an anesthesiologist in. They're going to bring a lot of other people in, and they may not be under the same health insurance plan. And so the health insurance plan sits there and says, well, these people aren't under our coverage, and I don't like how much they're charging for what the services are providing, so we'll only pay half of what they're charging. And, of course, the person who provided the services says, well, I charge $100, I only got paid $50, so I'm charging John the other $50 for my services. And so that's what happens. That's how you get these surprise medical bills. There's a couple of solutions to this problem, and the one that scares the heck out of me is the one that Lamar Alexander is supporting in the Senate, and that's already passed the House, and that is it would make a one-size-fits-all pricing system across the nation. So, and it's supported by the health insurers, naturally, because they want to guarantee their profits no matter what. And create one-size-fits-all pricing. They've tried this in California for the last 3 years, and guess what? The health providers are not providing insurance-covered services in a lot of places and denying access to medicine to people who otherwise would normally expect to be able to get rapid and quick response from healthcare providers. They're losing the healthcare providers in California because of this system. The system is doubly dangerous because one-size-fits-all pricing is a pathway to burning care. The minute you flatten prices to one-size-fits-all, it's very easy to say, well, we don't need health insurers, we'll just have the government cover it. And everybody can basically have their health care through the government. And at that juncture, you've just created socialized medicine while you were trying to solve a problem that can be solved very easily in another way. So that's the problem with the Alexander solution, and we've got a website, stopsocializedmedicine.org, and people can go there and check it out. There is a good solution, however, or at least a less bad solution.
Right.
The less bad solution would be to get the patient out of that problem, have the health providers and the insurers fight it out in front of an arbiter, and the arbiter decides who gets paid how much, but you and I don't face $5,000 bills that we don't know where it came from and hadn't planned for, and quite honestly may not be able to afford. So the more intelligent decision is to allow for the health providers who are saying it costs me this much money to do this in Bakersfield, California, and the insurers will say, well, we're only willing to pay this much money for you to do that, and have them go to a neutral arbiter and figure it out and get the patient out of the mix.
Right. You would still get a bill under my scenario, but it's not going to be $5,000, right?
Right. You get the bill for what you were supposed to, if you're in an 80-20 plan, you get the bill for the 20.
If I'm 80-20, I'm going to get the 20%. I'm not going to get the whole thing because, they're claiming that the anesthesiologist or the doctor or the person that performed something was out of network, and of course you had no control over that because you weren't even conscious. So it's not like you say, wait, don't take this polyp out, don't do that because you're out of network. I mean, you're just in there, right? You assume that they're going to pick in network doctors or in-network anesthesiologists, and they don't. Well, and in some respects, the challenge is they have people who are on call, and not every person belongs to the same network or has the same agrees to the same conditions for insurance, and so so it becomes a challenge. I had the same problem back to about 20 years ago. I ran my foot over a lawnmower. I'm sitting there getting surgeries. My wife is dealing with the insurance people, essentially the hospital administrators, trying to figure out insurance and all that stuff. And so, we get done. I go through 2 surgeries. I'm limping around, all that stuff. And lo and behold, we get the bill, and we get the bill from the guy who made it so I could walk again. And it's about $5,500 more than what the insurance company said they would pay. And so, it was a pretty big problem. So I went and met with a guy, the doctor, and I
sat down with him. I just negotiated it out and cut the price in half. Still had to pay $2,500. But I wanted to treat him fairly because he put my foot back together so I can walk, and I felt I should, make sure he actually made money on his transaction rather than it costing him money. So that's the insurance companies are creating this problem to a large extent because let's just be honest. Their objective is, and I don't blame them for this, their objective is to make money. Under Obamacare, they've been squeezed incredibly hard on price and on other things. And as a result, we're still having to bail them out from the federal government because of Obamacare. Now this problem occurs because they've got no room to rise prices to potential to the people who are buying the health insurance. As high as health insurance is, Obamacare forces them to cover certain things. And so Obamacare has totally disrupted the insurance market. The health insurers are trying to respond. But the truth is what this is, it is a guaranteed income for health insurers, and it is destroying the people who actually give you health care. And when you get down to it, I don't want the guy who's willing to take 10 cents on the dollar to do my anesthesiology. I want the guy who the hospital knows is going to help me make sure, not just put sleep. I want the guy who's going to make sure I wake up. Okay, that's the guy I want. Right. I don't want the guy who can just put me to sleep. So it's I don't want him only doing half the job because he's only getting half the pay. So that's when you get down to it, we need a solution that is fair to everybody, and the solution is fair to everybody and doesn't rip off the consumer is to go off and have an arbiter who actually takes into account the cases of everybody involved and makes a decision rather than providing health insurers with a guaranteed income until somebody like Bernie Sanders comes into power and then uses it as a means to take over the healthcare system.
Right. So basically, what surprise billing, Rick Manning, is what we don't want is rate setting, right? Which is the Lamar Alexander bill.
Absolutely right.
So we
do not
want
want rate setting.
Rate setting, which is just basically a preamble to Medicare for all. A preamble. These are all down payments on going to a single payer system, which is the ultimate in rate setting. Which causes doctor shortages, which is what they've seen when California's tried this. Doctors simply move out of the state and go somewhere else. I mean, it's so easy, but you just can't get this done. It seems to be such an easy fix. So we don't want rate setting. We don't want Lamar Alexander's bill, right? So we don't want that.
Correct.
Is there? I looked in Congress at Denver Riggleman's bill, who's one of our congressmen. In the Mid-Atlantic region, which I cover. He's got a bill which is what you call the arbitration bill. But is there a bill out there that you prefer?
Well, you get right down to it. What I prefer is for them to redo the healthcare system as a whole, strip the Obamacare out, do the things that are necessary to make certain that people who have pre-existing conditions don't get screwed, and create a situation where we have markets that work. We deal with the problem of surprise medical billing without laying the groundwork for socialized medicine.
Right, and my point is you have to take the Riggleman bill and extract it out of the Obamacare bills, which are going nowhere in this session.
Yeah, right now we have to do
the majority.
It's going nowhere. And truthfully, John, the smallest amount that we can have them do is the best.
Exactly.
Because you've got people who want to expand the government role in healthcare,
right,
who are going to be running the show in the House, and they're going to be driving this boat. So we have to get something that solves the problem with a rifle shot, as opposed to allowing them to expand it to turn it into something that further messes up the healthcare system. So the public says, heck with it, the private healthcare system doesn't work, and we have to go with a socialized medicine approach.
Right, and that's the Riggleman bill. Now, for instance, in Virginia, hospitals already provide price transparency. There's a public website that's been online, I think, since 2006, and Virginia Health Information. I think it's a state-related agency. But where's the cost transparency on the insurance side? So the hospitals have the transparency. What about the insurance companies?
I don't know of any, apart from their filings with the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, as private companies. I don't know of any real transparency you get. It is a and so you see, and because they're state by state regulated in different states, you probably have different requirements in terms of transparency. But by and large, there's no transparency on the health insurer end, mainly because their only business is they collect money from you in exchange for them paying certain services, the healthcare services for you. And there's they don't provide any service except for being a bank, essentially, that pays for part of your healthcare services.
Right.
And that's why some people go with health savings accounts, for instance, which allow you to be your own bank for health. Some people go with Christian-oriented health services where you basically collaborate with others and help pay each other's health services.
That's what I do.
So there's a lot of different alternatives that you have in terms of the costs and deal with the cost structures. But the health insurers, in order for them to stay in business, they have to make a profit. They're in a heavily regulated industry where the federal government tells them what they can charge and how much, and basically sets up what products they have to offer. They're not allowed to offer products that are less than the federal government demands. Right. And as a result, you and I don't get to say, if a 25-year-old who can't say, listen, I need to make certain that I have pregnancy coverage, family coverage, and catastrophic, but I don't need a lot of other coverage and pay a lot less for the health insurance. And somebody's older, pay more for their health insurance because we're going to use more health care. It's all evened out. So the young person is paying a lot, and the older person is paying less, and essentially the old gets subsidized by the young with the Obamacare system. It's just not the way it ought to be. So we've got to fix it. We have to, but this one thing on surprise medical billing is a problem. The president recognizes this problem, and the solution is not to create a pathway to socialism. The solution is to go with a rifle shot approach that deals with it and still puts the health providers, the people actually make sure you wake up after surgery, make certain that those people are getting paid for their expertise and their services, as opposed to being shortchanged by the insurers, and you the patient, then getting stuck with a bill that you never planned on and you never bargained for.
So I'm going to make it easy for our listeners, Rick Manning. It's really easy. It's on surprise billing. It's Riggleman, not rate setting. It's all you have to remember.
There you go. Maybe I'll do the next website that Riggleman, not rate setting.
Yes,
and
right.
Denver's a great guy, so Denver's.
Well,
a great
he's got
guy.
the bill. I mean, he's got the right bill, and you're right. It is a surgical rifle shot, and what's going to happen? He put it in, and it immediately started. It got like it was had those sticky things on it, and it started tracking all this other bills, and now it's trying to now Republicans want to make it part of getting rid of Obamacare. I mean, you're just not going to do that. So let's Riggleman, not rate setting. That's what I'm going to go with, and because we need something because everybody kind of gets what's going on, but until there's a bill that people can identify with and it's easy and it's simple, it goes nowhere. So let's go with that. Riggleman, not rate setting. Rick Manning, we're going to go with that. What do you think?
Very good.
You like
I like it, and I like it. And once again, if you want an easy way to get your congressman, just go to stopsocializedmedicine.org, and it'll take you right to a letter to send to Congress against the rate-setting bill, the one-size-fits-all rate-setting bill. And that will get you into that, and then we will keep you informed. There's no cost. Everything's free. And we'll keep you informed of what's going on and get something out urging support for the Riggleman alternative. And we'll be trying to get somebody on the Senate to be picking it up as well, so we can get a rifle shot rather than a shotgun that blasts, that does a lot of things we all like, but because of that, it doesn't pass.
The bottom line is, with Lamar Alexander's retiring, bless his heart, fine. Hope he has a fabulous retirement. I got to go. But whenever you arbitrarily set rates, whether it's drugs, which the Democrats are trying to do, or surprise billing, whenever you set rates arbitrarily, it creates one thing at the end of the day. and that is a shortage if the rates are too low. So like California, who's now got a doctor shortage, you're just going to get shortages of the care you need. Makes no sense. That's what we learned. I got to go, Rick Manning. Rick, thanks for being with us, President, CEO.
Thank you, John.
Americans for Limited Government. Guess who's coming up? Stephen